the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
Lift off.
So I can't keep talking about that character.
No, you can't keep talking about Ned.
Okay.
It's a great character.
Yeah.
But he is solely for Biofriendly Podcast After Dark.
Okay.
Yeah. It was very funny.
Very sad.
But I often have to say on the podcast, I have to say, is everybody done? Is everybody done with that so we can go on to the show? We get it out? Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't think that the audience of the Biofriendly Podcast would appreciate Ned,
I think, no, here's the crazy thing is I actually think that this audience would love it more than anybody else.
Probably would.
They would love it more than anyone else. They'd be like, I've been in this show for 4 years, and I've been waiting for this moment. I've been through all the bleeps. Through all the sweeps. Through all those things, I've stuck with these guys through thick and thin, and I'm ready for, them to give it up their all. Give it their all.
like Ned does.
Like Ned does. In a sad way. Oh, you guys! It is. We knew. Noel said we were giggly this morning.
We're a little giggly,
and sometimes those are the days that you're like, this is gonna be a good podcast day because we're just a little bit silly,
a little slap happy. It's funny. It's another rainy day in Los Angeles.
Yeah. And it's the day after the time switchover, so I feel a little loopy today.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning and I was like,
it's dark.
Yeah, it's dark and I'm still not used to the earlier morning. So you kind of have that feeling. Noel and I sometimes have to have these early morning drives to the airport where we're leaving at like 4 o'clock, 5 in the morning. Yeah. And those mornings we tend to be kind of like kids at a sleepover.
Yeah.
Like we have this really goofy energy because I think you're still a little bit like, I might still be asleep. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
And
my dreams have been weird too.
They've
been kind of goofy.
I had a weird dream too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about them or no?
I don't know. It's gonna. Well, I'll try. I'll try. It was super weird. Mm-hmm. So I'm in a garage. It's not. It's not.
Veronica's like, where's this gonna go?
It's not my garage.
Okay.
Except that in the dream, it's my garage.
Okay.
So it's not the actual garage that I have in my home in real life.
Right.
It's a different garage than that garage.
Yeah.
Yet in my dream, I know that I own this. That this is my garage.
Of course. Why
and
wouldn't
there
it
are
be?
snakes everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
Of different sizes, different girths, different lengths. Snakes everywhere. Different teeth.
Are you scared?
Different colors. Oddly, I'm just kind of irritated.
Okay.
So there's snakes everywhere, and then people keep looking at the snakes and they're playing with the snakes. I'm like, put this snake down. Would you guys stop? Because I'm like,
you're
really
in my garage.
Angry that people are in my garage playing with snakes that I feel like they shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And then over time, as the dream goes on, the snakes that people are playing with start to become half kids and babies and half snakes.
Wow, dude.
So they have snake bodies and then kid heads, and then now they're totally kids, but they have snake tails, and then they have still snake teeth. And then people are still playing with the snakes. I'm like, that's not a kid. That's a snake. Don't blow up. It's going to bite you. Don't play with the kid. And then they're kids. Wow. And then I'm sitting there wondering, are these kids? Or are they snakes? Am I now seeing kids? Or were they never snakes? And was I insane the whole time?
Oh my gosh, what a dream.
That was the dream. I went insane in my own dream. I didn't know reality.
Your mind.
I didn't know if they were babies or snakes.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Is that a weird dream or what?
We're writing that movie.
So someone, some psychoanalyst who's in our audience is going to come back and be like, okay, so step away from Noel slowly.
Yeah. So first of all, Noel's eating way too many noodles. It's a symbol of ramen in his dreams.
Yeah.
No, mine wasn't as elaborate as yours. That's crazy.
It was a weird dream, very vivid, very weird.
Yeah. Mine had,
and I believed it. It made sense. You know how things that aren't logical can be logical in dream world. It was It was very logical.
Yeah.
It was very true.
Yeah.
But it just, yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest emotion was irritation at people. Yeah.
That's amazing. Have you ever heard about this thing that's going on where I'm not a lucid dreamer. A lucid dreamer is the idea that you can control your dreams. I'm not one of those people where you can be in a space and you can kind of you realize you're dreaming and so you can craft where it's going and all that stuff. Never had that ability. There's all these people that make these videos now that I think are so interesting where they say, if you ever turn to another person and in your dream and you say, hey, what day is it? That the person in the dream will like freeze up and look at you like kind of startled because you're not supposed to equate it to real time, like existence. And then it's like this, I don't know if it's ever worked. I can't do it. But if you guys ever can do it, if you can ever ask the date and time of somebody in your dream, see what happens. But people say that they freak out.
Supposedly, it's like it's a problem.
It's a mechanism in your brain that's probably going like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're looking at snake kids right now. Let's not focus on if it's 2023 March or not.
You're not supposed to know what time it is, you dope.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I can do that sometimes.
Yeah, try it. You can?
Yeah.
You have a little bit of...
Yeah, I do.
Will you ask?
I'm going to ask.
You got to report back.
Yeah, I'm going to.
It could be terrifying.
I'm going to say...
It could be the scariest thing ever.
Stan, what time is it?
What time is it?
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. What day is it?
What day is it, Stan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of days, this airs on St. Patrick's Day.
You're kidding me.
It airs on St. Patrick's Day. And look at you.
On St. Patrick's Day.
It's on
That's fantastic because I'm wearing the green today.
You're wearing the green. I'm not. So pinch away.
All right, here's a pinch. Oh, no, I can't give you a real pinch because we're recording it on the wrong day.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
If I pinch you today, then I'll get killed by the St. Patrick's Day leprechaun.
By the leprechaun police.
You can't pinch on the wrong day.
You're right. Yeah. Oh, no. I've been pinching every day except for St. Patrick's Day. I'm in a lot of trouble.
You are going to be in a garage filled with snake babies.
Yeah, I am. And they're going to be like, the reason why we have you here today, Jacob, is you've been pinching people not on St. Patrick's Day. You know that's the law.
And stop calling us babies. We're leprechauns.
That's right. We are not snakes. But this airs on St. Patty's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day. I know it's not the day today.
St. Patrick's Day.
But you dressed up. But we always have a little green in our background. If you're a listener, you don't know, but we sit in front of our green biofriendly wall. So we've always got a little green.
I've got my orange cup too, which is Irish color.
Yeah, Irish color. And
orange and green.
Yeah.
And white.
Yeah. And we're, yes, that's very true.
That's right.
And you and I are both Irish anyway.
We are.
We are of Irish descent, and that was never clearer than...
Horrifyingly Irish.
Horrifyingly Irish. And that was never clearer than we met a very, very proud Irishman at a restaurant 2 years ago. And he had his arms around us. And he was like, this bleeping guy! This Irish guy right here. Well, Irish do love to find other Irish, that's for sure.
He got us drunk.
He did.
He got us drunk very quickly.
Very quickly. Because he was like, another round.
It's okay, they're Irish.
They're Irish. It's okay. As if the bartender was going to be like, oh, well, say no more.
Well, I thought 9 shots might be too many, but now...
Right. Now I know that that's not true. So...
He wasn't drunk.
Yeah. Well, boy, he seemed fine.
He was fine.
Yeah, he was fine.
I was plowed.
Yeah. He was like 3 times my size at least. He was a very large man.
He was a powerfully large man.
Yeah.
He was responsible for. He's a really interesting,
very cool,
fantastic guy. Yeah. Very friendly, very affable. Like,
yes,
we had a great time with him.
We did. He was a very nice man.
Fellow Irishman, right?
Of course.
But yeah, he was responsible for like the retirement programs for the unions, for local union groups, and so he was a cool dude.
He was taking care of
helping people out.
Yeah, he was going on and on about how he'd help turn people's lives around and help them save money, and that was a really cool thing. Like he was a bombastic big dude who was very proud to be Irish and very excited to meet us, but he was doing really good stuff, and so that's always nice when you meet somebody who's kind of like that, and then you're like, oh, but they're actually helping people out. So.
He was loud and definitely would mess you up in a bar fight.
For sure.
But his heart of gold.
Heart of gold.
Such a sweet guy. Really.
Heart of gold.
Such a sweet guy. Such a friendly guy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Not all Irishmen have a heart of gold, but some do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wish I could say that because it's St. Patrick's Day, we're doing an Irish themed episode, but we're not. We're not because we've done St. Patrick's Day episodes in the past. So I was looking for other stuff. But before we get into that, you are correct. It is a kind of rainy, overcast day.
It is.
So we're starting out with the giggles.
We're going to wear our sweaters.
We're going to wear our sweaters.
We're going to get some hot chocolate.
Cocoa, and just talk a little bit on the show. How are you doing, Veronica?
I'm doing good.
That's very nice.
How about you?
Yeah, we're doing great. I'm still living the dream.
That's really nice.
It's just really nice.
Yeah.
Just going to maybe put some mothballs out because I've been noticing some of my clothes have been getting some holes if I leave them too long in storage.
This is the part of the podcast where the person's trying to turn up the volume, and then all of a sudden this happens, and they're like, well, we're going to get into some stuff. But it's funny because I have a subject,
Uh-oh.
but I have a backup subject.
Yeah. Okay, so it's that good, huh? All right, let's do it.
Well, I'll tell you why I have the backup subject when we get into it. Okay.
Is the subject too short?
No. It had something that I read in the description that I was like, oh no.
Noel's gonna hate this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good.
I don't think you'll hate it, but I had a moment where I read a line and I went, oh no, like if that'll make it run out, then it'll run out. So I had a backup. But you never know with us.
You don't.
You never know.
You just don't.
Because sometimes I've gone into episodes thinking, I don't know, Noel's gonna be like, yeah, cool, and then it's gonna be like, oh well, that didn't, I wish I had something else. This time I have something else. But he could be like, oh, this is amazing.
But sometimes if I don't like a subject, it makes for a better show. Because if I agree completely,
yeah.
if someone's got
boring.
a topic that's like, well, this is, and it's as if I wrote it.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, well,
whatever.
Yep.
Cool. Everybody's on board.
Yep.
Yeah. But
Right.
those episodes where you after we end it, punch me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh, I always do.
Oh yeah, I know.
always do.
It's just your way of saying good show.
Yeah.
Good show.
Way to go.
Way to go.
Just
Champ.
stand right here. I
Stand
want you
right
to
here.
put
Jakey.
your bleeps right there.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I'm bleeping myself now. Have you
I
noticed
know
that?
you are.
I've been really good about
You are.
this.
You are. You're a bleeper. You're a bleeper.
Trying
Noel, the bleeper Carol.
Trying to save some time in post-production.
You're a giver.
I am a Givens.
Yeah, you are. You are an honorary Givens. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Scientists discover enzyme that can turn air into energy.
Ooh.
Interesting, right?
Ooh.
Okay. Now, this is the part that I was like, no, this isn't yet why I think you wouldn't be on board. This was at first, I was like, whoa, it's fascinating. This is really interesting. Yeah. Scientists studying a cousin of the bacteria responsible for tuberculosis and leprosy have discovered an enzyme that converts hydrogen into electricity. And I think it could be used to create a new, clean source of energy, literally from thin air.
Well, if we're willing to put botulism in our foreheads in order to make it so that we have clean lines, why can't we put tuberculosis in our air?
Why can't we put tuberculosis in our air?
Right.
If we want to inject things into our face so that our lines go away, right? So that was the line that I was like, ooh, a distant cousin of tuberculosis and leprosy. I thought, interesting.
That's good.
Interesting choice.
That's
Good way to kick things off.
Good start.
Yeah. But so the name of this enzyme is HUC. Huck.
Like Huck Finn.
Like Huck Finn.
Okay.
So this is Huck.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, I'm your Huckleberry. Okay. This could be the Huckleberry to death. No,
okay.
The enzyme, which has been named Huck, is used by the bacterium Mycobacterium smegmatis. Smegmatis.
Okay.
Yeah. You got to say it with a cigar and glasses, like what's his Groucho Marx, and I go Mycobacterium smegmatis.
Perfect.
To draw energy from atmospheric hydrogen, enabling it to survive in extreme nutrient-poor environments.
Wow.
Okay. So by extracting and studying the enzyme, the researchers say they have found a new energy source that could be used to power a range of small, portable electric devices. That was the line that I was like, oh. I remember our dancing energy wristwatch overnight body power episode where I was like, isn't this cool? And I was like, look, man, we can't pull power from the body. And I was like, I suddenly panicked.
No, we can pull power from the body.
Can.
Just not enough.
Not enough to do anything. Right, of course. But I read the thing about the small electronics and I was like, that's the thing. I was like, maybe this isn't a huge piece of energy. But it was still worth being like, okay, this is...
I think you read this one wrong, buddy.
I read it wrong.
Yeah.
So you're into it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because it's not pulling from us.
Well,
it's in an enzyme.
So what is our body but an engine?
A wonderland?
It's a wonderland. Your body's a wonderland.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good song. Mm-hmm. It's an engine that uses, carbon and oxygen to create, energy.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
then to power itself, right?
Yeah.
But we sell a catalyst.
Yeah.
Right? Enzymes are catalysts.
Yeah,
They're
it's
natural
true.
catalysts,
Yeah.
right? So we kind of like our whole thing is how do you make the reaction more efficient? How do you facilitate this reaction?
Yeah.
Some of these reactions will never occur without the catalyst. Without the enzymes in your body, you don't get these reactions. They don't happen, right?
Right.
So I actually think that we might be onto something because somehow we are producing, like humans produce a heck of a lot of energy in our body. We do. And it's to some degree kind of a mystery how this whole thing works. I mean, not totally, but it kind of is, right? Like we know these enzymes do that. Like we know that like reactions are occurring and those reactions are important. To actually start to dial into what are the catalysts that are doing all of this?
Yeah.
That's kind of huge because you can start to figure out how can I get this molecule and that one to react with one another in midair.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the problem.
Yeah.
That's to get something to get a reaction out of midair, you need something to cause the reaction.
Yeah.
So we might be, look, if it's doing this naturally and they figured out this is the one, this bacteria is the one, this is the one that's doing this, well then let's see where it goes.
Yeah,
let's follow it along.
And I thought, that's why I brought it in, because I could have saw it and been like, I don't know if I want to do this one. But no, to your point, when I just saw it was powering small electricity, watches, smartphones, whatever, I was like, we obviously need more than that. But this discovery is brand new. We're talking days old. This is something that they just now figured out that it can do this. Now, the process has been around for a while, but it was a mystery. I'm like, how is it doing this? So I was able to at least bring in kind of how they discovered. So they abbreviate it once you get to the So this is how they discovered it. They abbreviate it to M. smegmatis, is a M. smegmatis is a non-pathogenic, fast-growing bacterium often used in the lab to study the cell wall structure of its close disease-causing relative, tuberculosis.
So what that means
Yes,
is,
please translate. This is science-y stuff.
Just because it's cousins with tuberculosis and leprosy doesn't mean that, like, this one is non-pathogenic. This one's not going to cause a disease.
Yes.
This one is like...
jokes aside about those diseases, it doesn't have the same...
This one isn't going to do that to you.
Yeah.
It's a cousin. It's different. Okay? So they're saying don't freak out. In science words.
So don't judge your cousin.
Yeah. Just because I walk around murdering people everywhere I go doesn't mean my cousin Steve is going to walk around murdering everyone everywhere he goes. That's my problem.
Right. He's your
something
cousin.
I need to work on.
Yes.
I need to get better about that.
And Steve is
because
always
people don't like it when I murder them.
Right. And Steve is always going like this. He's going like, don't judge me because of Noel. He's my cousin. Yes.
He's my cousin. Yes, he's murderous. And he's working on it.
He's working on it, and you need to forgive him for
Forgive
these
him and let him just get better about this for a second.
Yeah.
No one's giving him a hard time. He's walking around killing people.
And no, you just said murdering. You murder burgers. That's what you do.
Oh, I do. Although less these days.
Yeah, I know. Less these days. I know. Tell me about it.
Although when I murder a burger.
You murder
right
it.
now.
Straight up. You know what I want to murder right now is a
horrifying
donut.
Oh, God. Oh, so there's Krispy Kremes everywhere I look. Everywhere I look.
I know we got to get back to enzymes and bacteria. But man, we were talking about it this morning. Krispy Kreme is clearly doing some kind of promotion with donuts because they're everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's a Krispy Kreme stand. And I'm like, I'm losing my mind.
We are trying so hard, Jacob and I, to be better about our diet, about our health.
Yes.
Like exercising all the time, eating the salads, and like cutting out the glutens and
trying.
Just doing what we can, and the sugar, right? The blood sugar problem.
Yeah.
And doing our best to get like a good gut bacterium.
Yes.
And
gut
health.
It's not out of vanity. It's out of being
survival.
the 32-year-old men
32.
who are having increasing health problems and ailments. And so you're like, the only way I can beat this problem is if I eat well. So this isn't because I'm like, I've got to look hot for the Oscars. No. I'm not at the Oscars. No. I'm not worried about that.
I'm never going to be at the Oscars.
All I'm worried about is getting up out of bed and not groaning.
Yes, which we don't do anymore. That's what started our entire character of Ned.
That's what started
we
Ned.
Don't groan anymore
groan out of bed.
when we get out of bed. But we have been 32 for 12 years.
For 12 years
I'm going
now.
on 13.
Yes. You're about to. It's about to be the 13th anniversary of your 32nd
birthday. So we'll have 32.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when that happens, it doesn't. You gotta keep.
Got to keep
on.
If
you want to feel
on.
good, you got to change things up.
Yeah.
But we've been smelling a lot of donuts.
We've been smelling a lot of donuts, and they're everywhere. And they are not tuberculosis or leprosy. They are the cousin.
Cousin.
Yes. Oh.
Where were we?
The cousin of fruits and vegetables are Krispy Kreme donuts.
Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yes,
they're the cousin.
Cousin. So don't judge me for...
That's because wheat is a vegetable.
It's a vegetable. Okay, so back to him explaining. This bacterium is commonly found in soil all over the world. It's been long been known to convert trace hydrogen into the air into energy. In this way, the microbe can survive in the toughest environments, including Antarctic soils, volcanic craters, and the deep ocean, where little other fuel can be found. So how they did this was a pervading mystery. The team discovered that at its center, Huck has a structure called an active site that contains charged ions of nickel and iron.
Fascinating.
Once hydrogen molecules made up of 2 protons and 2 electrons enter the active site, they become trapped between the nickel and iron. They become trapped between the nickel and iron ions.
That's a lot of eyes.
Yes, and get stripped of their electrons. The enzyme then sends those electrons along in a flowing stream to generate a current. Yeah.
That's classic catalyst work right there.
Catalyst work right there. So this is the exciting thing about Huck and what it can do. So I brought another. This was a very sciencey article that I brought that talked about that. Then this was from Gizmodo, which was a little bit more like the common nerd. You know what I mean? Like this is like the science paper is the common nerd.
Yeah.
So in case any of that went over anyone's head,
You know what?
What?
It's not exactly the same, but I think give people a bit of a concept.
You've got a concept here?
A bit of a concept.
I want to hear your concept
of how a catalyst might work. How it might work.
Okay.
All right. And I'm taking a shot in the dark, and I'm ready for not a shot. It's just this is a null version. Okay.
Are you taking a
it's
pinch in the dark?
Not exact, but it's going to give a concept. That's all I'm doing.
I like your concepts.
We have a lot of doctors and scientists who listen to the show who like to be more to give me specific corrections, which I welcome. So keep doing it.
Bring them on.
But I'm trying to make things kind of stupid, simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call Noel at.
Yes. At 1-800. So let's make it larger.
Okay.
Because we're looking at things that are really tiny, really small.
Right.
Okay. So let's suppose that you've got Earth, and on Earth there is 7 billion people.
Yeah.
And that's like a large, we can see that Earth is big.
Yeah.
And Earth has a lot of gravity, and it keeps those 7 billion people on Earth.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to pull the people away from Earth.
Right.
Right? Okay. Now let's suppose that you've got some people who are kind of like in satellites outside of Earth, and some people who are on Earth or whatever, and they're hanging out doing a good time, right? And somebody swings Earth, picks it up, and moves it between Jupiter and Saturn.
Okay.
Really close.
Okay.
Now, we all know that Jupiter and Saturn are way bigger than Earth.
Huge.
Much bigger, right?
Yeah.
So the gravity of those gigantic planets is significantly more. If you were on the surface of one of those planets, you would just get squashed.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you happen to bring Earth near Saturn and Jupiter, then the people who are floating on the outside of Earth would probably get sucked into Jupiter, get sucked into Saturn.
Right.
And then a lot of people, possibly even on the surface of Earth, because Earth would get kind of messed up, right?
Yeah.
Would get sucked onto these other gigantic planets because they have more gravity. Now, that's not the same as gravity, but this gives you a concept of you're bringing in these two different massive bodies, and they are stripping things away from Earth because of their pull.
Right.
Because of how much they pull.
Yeah.
Well, molecules are kind of they're pulling at different weights and different sizes and grabbing.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're sucking things away from here, and you're changing the way this fella is. Now you've got these little electrons that are flying around the outside like satellites, and they're getting pulled away. And now you've changed how it looks.
And that's creating energy.
Yes.
That's creating
because
energy.
now you've got Earth's got no people, and needs to get more people, so it's trying to suck in people everywhere, and that's creating energy.
There you go. Never bring an Earth to a Saturn-Jupiter fight.
Don't. Again, this is so much like to try to make things giant. You get a concept. This is not precise, but it gives you an idea.
I think a visualization helps because I know from me when you talk about cells and bacterium and things that are small, the little world, it's kind of like Ant-Man.
Yeah.
The quantum realm. When you think about small, like we just don't think about small in the day-to-day, like things being very, very
Very
little.
hard to see things that are small.
Yeah, it's very hard to see things that are small, but you don't think about that there is a world living on your skin of bacteria and microbes and these hairs that look like trees. You know, we grew up watching Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and these movies about, you know, kids shrinking down and their lawn is like a giant jungle.
Yeah.
But when you see a film like Ant-Man and you think about like being in the quantum realm or those little, what are those little, they look like little bears. I forget their name something grades.
Tetragrades, right?
Tetragrades, yeah, I think so. They're these little tiny things. They're so small, and they're basically, they live forever. They could survive like a complete destruction of the earth. They're these things, these tiny
little worm bears.
Little worm bears,
Yeah.
and they're kind of cute, but they're so small.
Right.
But because we can only see on this realm, so when you start talking about energy from an enzyme or a cell pulling this or creating energy, it's like I can't see it in my mind's eye until you blow it up. And so what I'm glad about that analogy is you made it very large. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, you would if you were zipping around on a satellite outside of Earth,
Yeah.
right? And you were going by Jupiter. Jupiter's
It's gonna pull
good
you.
chance it's going to pull you or at least some of your buddies
Yeah. Yeah. Whoop.
away from Earth.
Yeah, because it's a stronger pull
Yeah.
because of its size.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That was I like it. I like it. So now you have to call Noel and tell him what you think about his scientific analogies. So here's the Gizmodo explanation. Huck is able to use hydrogen in the air to produce electrons as a byproduct of consuming the gas like a natural battery. The team's research shows that Huck can even generate electrons using levels of hydrogen below those found in the planet's atmosphere. So this is an interesting thing about bacteria in general. Bacteria in the world's soil consume more than 77 million tons of hydrogen each year and are an important part of maintaining Earth's atmosphere. They estimate that 60 to 80% of these bacteria could have enzymes like Huck, indicating a potential untapped wealth of electricity from biological sources. So this is pretty interesting. Huck is also a stable enzyme, meaning that it can be frozen or heated and still maintain its ability to generate electricity. Fascinating, right? So enzymes, baby. Enzymes.
Yeah.
I think there was one last thing I had, but no, that's just about storing it.
Well, so this is cool. This
It is cool, right?
Because you're looking at something that's happening in nature
Yeah.
and taking that activity and you're taking advantage of it,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what science has been doing in terms of engineering, like creating new products and new ways of doing things. That's what science does, right?
Yeah.
What I like about this is that even though it seems insane, taking energy out of thin air, it happens in nature all the time.
Yeah.
So if you're figuring out this is one place where we know it's happening, and
Yeah.
then you just multiply the effect of it because you can grow bacteria once you know what it needs, it'll reproduce. You can make more of it.
Yeah.
Right? You can. Yeah, this is possible.
Yeah.
I don't think this is at all. Even though it seems magical and crazy, I don't think it's actually beyond the realm of possibility at all. I think this is very doable. This kind of reminds me of Carl Sagan used to say that it would be probably easier to colonize Venus than Mars, because Venus is more similar to Earth, except for the fact that it's had the worst example of climate change, global warming, anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So like it's you would also get crushed on the surface of Venus, but not for the same reason as Jupiter. You'd get crushed on the surface of Venus because the gases that are above you are so heavy,
Right.
that they would crush you.
Yeah.
So like the weight, like the amount, it's like when you're underwater.
Yeah.
Right. You go deep enough underwater. The farther you go down, you go deep enough, you're just going to get crushed.
You're going to get crushed.
Right. So the same thing happens. It's just that instead of water, it's like greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, when they'll do an experiment, it's funny when they do experiments on Mars, that it's just trying to get the thing to land without crashing. When they do it on Venus, it's you're bored waiting for it to get to the bottom, but once it's on the bottom, you've only got a little bit of time before it melts and gets crushed.
Yeah. It's like we talked about on here with the blobfish, our episode on ugly animals. And blobfish is like, we see them once they pull them out of the water, it's just these kind of messes of goo. And I had to explain to my own sons, I was like, that's not what that fish looks like. That fish lives at a depth where the ocean is like crushing every side of it, and so
it looks very handsome.
It looks very like filled up and normal, and then the moment you take it out of that environment, it just falls apart because it's used to living in a very dense, pressurized water environment. So you bring it up to the surface, and it's like, I've got nothing to hold me together anymore, and so it looks hideous.
It's just not how it's built.
It's just not how it's built.
Yeah, I know. Give that poor blobfish a chance. But
Poor
anyways,
blobfish,
Carl Sagan's theory was that if you were to catalyze, if you were to put like enzymes or bacteria more accurately into the, like seed the atmosphere with the right bacteria, the right enzymes, that you'd start to get reactions that would happen in all of that CO2 and all those greenhouse gases that would then convert them into things that were more useful.
Really?
Get some of that carbon to fall out of the atmosphere and go down into the ground again and have it so you had an atmosphere that was more like Earth.
Yeah.
Now, that's, I think, was kind of looked at by science at the time. They're like, there's nothing that can do this.
Yeah.
Except that I doubt that, I bet there is somebody that can do it. We just got to keep, like if it was important enough, we'd figure it out. But it's not, because we still think we can make Earth work. I hope we can.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. We can make it work.
Yeah.
We can make it work.
Yeah.
But
anyways, the same idea. It's the same idea. Can you let something that exists naturally in this universe release it into that environment and then have that multiply, grow, and then do the job for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating
because if it was all carbon and oxygen instead of carbon dioxide, then you'd have Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the material that makes up this planet is pretty fascinating because it's all the same stuff, and its ability to grow is remarkable, especially things like bacteria, enzymes, fungus. I just saw this video that was showing how they took a mushroom. It was a science video, and this guy put a mushroom down on a piece of foil, and just the little trace of the mushroom, just the powder, like the kind of the black powder, took that, put a little bit in a solution, went like this, waited a week or two, then poured it over all this dirt, and then within like a month, it was just filled with mushrooms. It was just how this little tiny speck could multiply so greatly. So the right elements and things around us, it's kind of amazing what nature can do if given the right conditions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is totally true, but I have a feeling that eventually the right conditions can produce like anything that would survive in it. Yeah. If you give it enough time.
Yeah. That's
Probably.
true.
Like,
I think you're right.
I think life as we know it is what we see here. I'd be very curious to see what life is like in other places if you really dug in to see what's there.
Totally.
Is there bacteria here? Because I'll bet there's all sorts of fun, microscopic, crazy life all over this solar system and certainly a galaxy and universe.
Absolutely. It's just too much space to be empty. That's for doggone sure.
And I mean beyond aliens, like the people who are coming up. I'm just talking about random
living
life
organisms
you've never expected. You didn't think could survive, but just figured out a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Gases, waters, solids, vegetation, just the things that can form. It's just fascinating to think about.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
All we really know a lot about is Earth, and we don't even know much about this place.
No, we don't. And they just, this James Webb telescope that they built recently, they literally within the first year of using this, they were like, yeah, remember those 6 galaxies that we saw at the outside of our galaxy? We were way wrong. Those are much bigger than we thought. So, I mean, we're always discovering new things.
Yeah. Which is fun.
It is fun. It's the joy
why,
of being alive.
This is why I hope that more young kids get into STEM, because I feel like there is so much to explore and enjoy outside of
Agreed.
We got so stuck into tech, right? Into like what's the new game, what's the new app, what's the new phone, what's the new social media, what is the new thing
what's the new gadget?
Like it's here, and we're sucking ourselves more into like stuff that's right directly in front of our face, which is a little sad, because if we were to pull back and actually do what we used to do and look out and go see what else is out there, man, the amount of things we could discover. Yeah,
the natural world has just as much cool gadgetry behind it, if you will.
Significantly more.
Way more. The ocean, space, creatures, nature, it has a lot of nuance that I think that... I agree with you. We've gotten a little fixated on the things that we can build, and it's like, what about the things that already are there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's exciting that we've completely changed Earth with computing. I mean, it's exciting.
Yeah,
And so obviously that takes a lot of attention. I feel like if we could get the youngins to pull back.
Listen up, youngins.
Much better than we're doing as old 32-year-olds.
Yeah, you and me, 32. Yeah. Can't believe it. But the headlines that they made for these articles are great puns. You know, this enzyme could produce electricity from thin air. You know, it's just a lot of that kind of like this very end here. Once we produce Huck in sufficient quantities, the sky is quite literally the limit. All the jokes. But that is the story of Huck. Now, here's the thing. We've gone 35 minutes. There's room for me to share my bonus story. And it does loosely tie in. Should I share it or should I save it?
Is it enough that we can cover an entire episode with it next week?
Well, let's
go fast. Don't let me ramp. Don't let me vamp.
I thought that what was funny about this one was we were talking, and this was coincidental because when I said the thing about burgers, I wasn't even thinking about this article, but I was like, we're in a situation right now where we're trying to eat healthy. This guy, tasty burgers and steaks made from Mycelium, our new healthy food alternative to plant-based meats. So Mycelium is a mushroom.
All right.
It's a mushroom. So, but listen, this is what caught my attention about this article. Listen up.
All right.
Okay. Unlike the CEOs of Impossible Foods and Beyond Foods, Huggins, which is this guy's name. Sorry, where's his first name?
I'll bet it's Tim. Is it Tim Huggins?
Tim Huggins. Where is he? Where did they introduce his name for the first time?
Huggins?
Thomas Huggins.
Stan Huggins?
Tommy Huggins.
Tommy Huggins.
So it said, unlike the CEOs of Impossible Foods and Beyond Foods.
So it's not Tim, it's Tom.
It's Tom. You were close. Unlike the CEOs of Impossible Foods and Beyond Foods, Huggins is a meat eater who enjoys bow hunting, and his parents run a bison and elk meat company in Montana. He's looking for something to produce that consumers can really sink their teeth into and be satisfied, along with trying to help reduce emissions from the food system. Okay. So what was so funny about this guy's journey is he went into the Sprouts headquarters to show them, and he said that he went in to show them, and the investors were rolling their eyes.
Right.
And they were going, oh, another plant-based product. So it was literally fatigue.
Yeah.
Like, here we go again.
Yeah.
And he said it wasn't exactly enthusiastic, but then they took their first bites, looked at each other, and grabbed another cut. In an instant, it became, who else are you talking to? Can we talk first? Like, can we be the first ones you go after? Because this is what's interesting about this and why I was excited. This is coming from a guy who has to limit what he eats because of health issues and whatnot. So I'm looking for ways that I can eat things. But I have challenges. I'm all for what Impossible and Beyond are trying to do. But a lot of times when I look at these meats, they have really high levels of sodium. And I'm also kind of frustrated with it's difficult sometimes because while it tastes good, I'm not 100% sold on everything that's happening there.
Yeah, I'm definitely not sold on everything that's happening there. And also, look, it tastes much better than you would ever expect.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But it's not the same.
It's not the same. But look,
I don't care what they say. It's not the same.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think you're right. So, and I'm going to be clear because we have some defensive fans of the show.
Like me.
And I want to say this right now. I support businesses like Impossible and Beyond that are trying to come up with meat alternatives to save animals, to make alternatives for food. I support what they're trying to do. It's not for everybody, but I am not down talking those businesses on what they're trying to do.
Right. If the goal is to stop the death of lots of animals, then they are definitely doing a great job.
They're doing a great job
of doing that because they have produced an alternative that's close enough.
For
sure.
Yes, and if people say one of the number one ways we can prevent climate change is to reduce the amount of meat produced. Absolutely.
Right.
We've talked on the show before that we do need to not be eating meat every single meal all the time. That is a balanced thing. It's important. That's why ideas like Meatless Mondays are things that we support. And
100%.
we go, yeah, man, dial it back. Do not be eating ribs and steaks every day. That's not good for you, and that's taxing on the world.
I think the point you're trying to make is just because it's good for the environment doesn't mean it's good for everybody's body.
Right, exactly. And so...
And maybe it's not great for your body.
Yes.
And so you would love something else.
I want some more choices. That's why I found this and I thought it was cool. But there's cool things about it. Okay. There's a lot of reasons why using fungi as a sustainable food option is much better than soy, corn, or any other meat alternative. These monocrops come from highly genetically modified seed stock. That's what they're talking about, that and need to be kept alive with millions of acres of prime farmland, billions of gallons of water, hundreds of thousands of gallons of pesticides and herbicides, and millions of pounds of ammonium nitrate fertilizers, the epitome of unsustainability. So some of these alternatives, it takes a lot to keep them alive, to keep them going, and whatnot. By contrast, not 1 inch of farmland needs to be used to cultivate mycelium, which is typically grown on sawdust and other waste products. That's how mycelium grows. So products like the Impossible Burger, and again, this is from an article, so I don't want off of the Good News Network. So don't attack me. I'm not disparaging your use of Impossible Burger or Beyond Burger.
We're just
sharing.
We're just so tired of being attacked by the Impossible Mafia.
I know. I just don't want anybody to come after me. Products like Impossible Burger and Beyond Burger are what the Harvard School of Medicine defines as ultra-processed foods, meaning an edible product that is many times removed from its natural state. Okay? That's what a Harvard School of Medicine says. Most veggie meats are actually composed mainly of ultra-processed seed oils and other fillers rather than vegetables in order to keep costs down and improve shelf life.
They just aren't that great for you, the seed oils. I would love it if they were. I really would. Because I could deep fry anything right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love it, but they're just not that good for you.
So this means their nutritional profile is principally highly inflammatory and oxidized polyunsaturated fats, not to be confused with their heart-healthy monosaturated fats. So this is the problem that I kept running into, is that I don't get to eat like I used to. I don't. And I think I've shared on the show before that I have gout and I have to deal with this new nutritional lifestyle that I'm doing. And there's things that activate it and cause it to be a problem. So it's not that I can't ever have meat again, but I have to be careful, especially with red meat. So this guy is on the prowl, man. I grew up in Oklahoma. I ate burgers every day. This is my life. And so I'm looking, and a lot of times I'm looking at the options available, and I'm like, this doesn't seem like it's going to be that much better for me. So this got me excited because, by contrast, mycelium meat would be composed mostly of fiber, provided there aren't too many additives, while nonetheless containing that umami flavor that makes grilled mushrooms and steaks so similar in taste. So anyway, that was the thing that I thought was kind of cool about this story. He was a guy that wasn't, he had a different mission. His family was, hunters and farmers of bison and elk, and, that's something that he lived with and knew. And he was like, there's got to be a better alternative to these plant-based meats. And I thought it was kind of cool that it just was mushrooms. But if you're watching The Last of Us, that may scare you.
Well, I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful. Exactly.
I'm hopeful.
Yes.
I'm not gonna.
You're not sold.
You know.
I know.
Me, right?
I know.
I don't know. Let's see. How. I'm very picky on flavor, and for me, the thing is, like, if I can't have the thing,
then you'd rather not have it.
I'm going to have other things until it's not such a big deal that I have the thing. Like, I'll just make the habit.
Yeah.
The other stuff, and then
Habit Burger, let's go.
Let's go to Habit. Although when we go to Habit Burger, we get a Cobb salad.
We do get a Cobb salad, and it's delicious.
It's delicious. We learned that from Veronica. That Cobb salads are the best.
Cobb salads are the best.
But I don't. But I'm not. But who knows, man? Let's see. But I think over time, and this is the thing about Impossible Burger, and Beyond Burger, is that, like, at first when they came out and there was a lot of, like, we didn't know much about them. I was like, oh, this could be incredible. This could be great. Wow, what a help this could be, and whatever else. And again, to some degree, it is. Not saying don't eat whatever you want to eat.
Yeah.
You do you, boo.
Yeah, absolutely. No, go ahead.
And this one could be another one of those things, and it could be incredibly easy to grow, and it could be incredibly healthy, and all could be really well. I think the problems start to show up when you try to do this at scale.
Yeah.
When you
Agreed.
try to do this for lots and lots of people who want to have it, and then you start to figure out how do I get enough sawdust as an example, or whatever waste
However
products you need to do it.
Yeah.
Like what happens, and then in order to make sure you're doing it efficiently, now what are we adding? What are we changing?
Sure.
What are we doing? Or is the process generally the process has something to it, something complicated? Otherwise, it would just exist. You'd have
You'd just be able to go out and get
these
it.
mushrooms would be growing out of the ground, and you could just pick it up and eat and go, hamburger.
I don't have to grow them anywhere. They're just there.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree. And look, I have done this show for many years with you. Mm-hmm. And when I research subjects and I look at things from an environmental standpoint, I have Noel on my shoulder, both of them, 2 Noels. Mm. And there's one that is reminding me that as we develop and create new technologies and new solutions, they can't be more taxing on the environment than the current solution, because then it's not a solution at all. It's just another thing.
Right.
And so I hear that guy. And so I've learned over the years. I listen, I pay attention. And so
Noel's nodding away over here going, wow.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I listen. And so when I read about these things, I go, okay, there's an enzyme that can produce electricity. It's a catalyst. That's fascinating. Now they're talking about these portable electronics. So is that going to be a valuable thing? But the truth is, behind that, they're on the precipice of going, hey guys, there's a lot of bacteria growing on this earth. What if in a very natural way we can harness the bacteria to create some energy, and maybe that whole process will grow into something remarkable. We don't even know. That could be huge.
And maybe if we harness mushrooms, we can turn them into the perfect hamburger.
Perfect hamburger.
I'm not saying we can't.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying let's see what happens.
Yeah, and I was going to echo that, which was, as somebody who is, I've never looked at labels more, and I don't mean labels like who you are as a person. I mean food labels.
I do.
I look at labels. Yeah.
How are you labeled, buddy?
How are you labeled? I'm in the grocery store, and my grocery trips take twice as long now when I go by myself, because I'm the guy sitting there looking on the back of them. Because you do kind of get caught up, especially in the health food sections.
I'm the guy who's walking behind you, checking you out.
Yeah.
While you're looking
You're labeling me?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
I'm like, look at that smoke show.
Look at that smoke show. That guy's like some smoked mushrooms.
Like, ooh, he looks good, and he cares about what he eats.
Cares about what he eats.
Dang.
But if you go to the health food section, most stores now, I don't know, this might be just a SoCal thing. Like if you go to the Midwest, I don't know if this is it happens where you are, but even in your most common, like not your Sprouts, not your Whole Foods, not your Trader Joe's, in your regular grocery store, there's these green leaves that are over little sections and kiosks that'll let you know, like, this is the natural food section. Mm-hmm. And so I'll go to those. But a lot of times, 50-50, I'll find something, I'm like, this is good. This is a good solution. And then the other one, I'll flip it on the back, and it'll be like 0 cholesterol, 0 fat, 1,000 milligrams of sodium or whatever. And I go, and then it'll say like, or a footnote that'll say like, these processed foods were this, that, and the other thing. And I'm going, ugh. And so it's a journey. If you are somebody who gets a little bit, like you're in the produce section and you buy the lettuce, the tomato, the onions, and you buy all the greens and you buy the natural things that grow on this earth, but you want to eat something with a little bit more character, flavor, spice, seasoning, whatever. Hold your calls.
I like how bad that was.
Yeah.
Hold your calls. I'm on a roll.
I'm on a roll. But you want something that tastes different, but the offerings that are being made available some are great, but some of them are, I don't know if they're going to be good for me in the long run. And that's the journey I'm on.
Yeah, this is the diet craze that started back in the 60s,
I think you're right. I think the 60s, yeah.
It's the diet craze that has continued on in new forms.
Yeah.
It's an industry, and it keeps going. And the concept is, you were told sugar's bad, so we're going to make not sugar.
Not sugar.
And then we found out that not sugar is worse.
Is cancer.
And then, so we can't do not sugar. Okay, so let's find another type of sugar that's a different, let's plan to use, it's okay, well, this is 1,000 times more powerful than sugar, and we're not sure what that's doing either.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, now we found out that carbs are bad, so we're going to give you not carbs.
Not carbs.
Yeah. And then we found out that salt is bad, so we're going to give you, not salt. But, or, cholesterol's bad, so we're going to take away the cholesterol, but then give you all these other things that cause other total damage.
Totally.
I think that I think that the problem is that we monetized food. Like we turned food from something that was a necessity that you got as it grew from earth, was put together in combination by a chef, which could have been mom or it could have been someone at a restaurant, whatever, or dad.
Yeah.
And they made the food and turned it into something kind of great.
Yeah.
All right. Like that got turned into an industry of food, and the industry of food had to figure out how to make enough food, again, at scale, it's where that problem happens, that they could keep doing what they were doing so that you can get enough Twinkies in your mouth.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think that over time, this has made it so that it's very difficult to be healthy because all of the changes that were made for the benefit of mass production and the benefit of addiction have harmed our bodies, harmed what we can eat, right?
Yeah.
And then instead of just saying, well, then let's change food back to when it was simpler and when we just made food from what we could get naturally and organically on our own, or like through the help of good farming and good gathering, some hunting. We said no, we're gonna add another layer to the problem and make a new industry on top of the industry, which is the health food industry. And then that health food industry, you take out maybe you're taking out the cholesterol, maybe we're taking out the sugar, maybe we're taking out the gluten, whatever else. But the fact of the matter is people still want it to be edible.
Yeah.
So you've got to add in, like you said, sodium.
Something.
You've got to you're adding in or this long list of chemicals that equal the same flavor as that, more or less, except way worse for your gut.
Totally.
And so then that screws up people even more. And you think, oh, look, I'm doing this good thing. I'm having this fantastic shake that's got nothing in it except for flavor that is good for you, except that it's not good for you at all.
Right.
And so I think you find a lot, like this is, in our journey to...
It is.
In our journey to 32.
32.
It really has been, it's been a matter of you just have to sort of pick through what's in the grocery store and get the stuff that is what people got 50 years, 60 years ago.
That's
and
true.
then try to do your best to make food out of it. And then your body goes, okay, we can rock with this.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but you have to simplify. You have to simplify. Because everything is a combination of salt and sugar turned into a fusion of flavor.
Yes. And that's so well said. And my kind of closing thought is this, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are probably frustrated because the journey to nutrition is frustrating. Because I'll never forget when I got the gout diagnosis, you spend a little time where you look at what you can eat and what you can't eat.
And it hurts.
And then also you'll find there will be an entire series. Like let's say, for example, you go in the doctor and he says, I need you to put you on an eggs only diet. Like that's what you got to have. You will find videos that say why eggs are bad for you immediately.
Yeah, of course.
And then you'll go in and you'll go, okay, I'm going to do a celery. And then somebody will make something that says why celery is bad for you. Every single thing that you think that you're doing right, someone will say you're doing it wrong. Every guide that says you should drink this many bottles of water a day, somebody will make some kind of content, whether it's a quack or it's a real person who claims to be a doctor, they'll say why water is killing you. I mean, it's literally, that's where we're at right now. There's just too much information and somebody's right, somebody's wrong. And I think at the end of the day, you're going to know what feels right in your body. You're going to know that if you're feeling hydrated and you're feeling nourished, and you're going to know that probably the more simple your diet is, the better you're going to feel. And that doesn't mean you can't have a day where you eat the giant cheesecake. It doesn't mean you don't have a day where you have some potato chips. You get to have those things, but everything is about balance and taking care of your body and listening to it when it hurts. I
also think that people go nuts, right?
They do.
So someone hears, oh, celery's good for you.
Yeah.
And so they're turning celery into celery shakes and concentrated celery patties. And it's all celery.
Yeah.
Like the carrot juice craze.
That
was literally turning people orange.
Yeah.
It's carrots are super good for you.
If you have some a
super
day.
good for you. Mix your diet up.
Yeah, right.
Have some celery, have some carrots, have some lettuce, have some tomatoes, have some of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have so much that you will deal with any of the problems that they're talking about on any of the YouTube videos that you've been watching.
Yeah, exactly. It's just be careful. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a lot of quote unquote professionals who have cameras in their living room. So, try to find somebody who actually studied and went to school for it rather than somebody who's got a blog.
Yeah, and don't trust them either.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was gonna agree on some. If it's all about put a drug in you that's going to fix the problem, I don't know if that's necessarily the solution either. I think it's like you got to find that person that you really do feel like they're studied, they're learned, but they also are listening to people and they're not like trying to just put a Band-Aid on the problem. They want to look into it. So that's that marriage between having an understanding of how the body works, having a little science background, but also having an understanding that not everything built in a lab is going to fix it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a balance.
I'm gonna just because I know that my wife enjoys a lot of these things. I'm gonna do a quick defense of the bloggers. The blog, right? I'm not going to say go running out and doing everything that the really pretty person who's very fit says to do. Right. Or the really handsome muscle person says to do. That's because that's ridiculous, right? But I will say that if someone has found something successful and that speaks to you and you feel good about it, we're not gonna sit here and say don't do it or whatever, because you don't have to have a degree to have had success with food.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I said in my beginning, I said, you got to listen to your body. You got to know what's right for you. You got to, like, you'll know. And if this person has these results and you do it and you feel improvement, health, energy, fitness, all those things, and it works, then I think that they're on to something. And I think that there is a good side to people with cameras in their living rooms talking or in their kitchens talking about nutrition, but there's a dangerous side too. Yes. And I've seen both.
Yes.
So it's kind of the ownership is on you. You have to learn how to weed through the crazy and the good.
Isn't that just like, see, this one last topic we've done 2 shows.
We have done this is a double whammy.
It's a double whammy. Isn't that the lesson of tomorrow though, right there? I mean, here's where I think our children will be different than us completely, is when you consume information from open source.
Open source information.
Everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I can't trust the information that we get from official sources anymore either, because they've let us down too many times.
Right.
They've been wrong so many times that it's like, well, God, now I can't trust them either, right? So it has become a thing. For me, I've noticed where you have to sort of keep gathering. Like you can't, like you have to gather lots of information on everything, not just on food, but on is Disneyland cool?
Yeah.
Like you can't. Will I enjoy myself at Disneyland?
You have to know. You have to gather.
I mean, you have to. You do. You have to look at. Okay, this person said the bad thing. That person said the good thing. This person had a mixed review. This person. You have to kind of read it all and get a sense of what is everything before, which is frustrating because that's what reporters were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Right. But that's like to gather the data yourself and sort of put it together. I think that's the future of humanity, at least for the next generation, probably, is that this expertise in quickly putting together sources, like 17 different pieces of information and gathering, okay, what's the truth? Yeah. Because it's difficult to find the truth right now.
It is. And that it opened up another tangent, but I'm gonna let it go because you're right. We've done a lot of content today. It became a double whammy without us even knowing, because the enzyme was a fascinating science topic, but this door into how we take care of our bodies and what we buy at the store is a fascinating topic as well. But I'm glad we did it. Because I think that there's a lot of meat in this subject, and there's a lot of energy in the air to close it out. So anyway, with that, we could probably talk forever.
Yes.
But we'll wrap it up. So thank you for listening to the Biofriendly Podcast. We can't do this show without you, so make sure you tell your friends, share, spread, post the links, put them in your stories, say this is the good stuff, baby. And give us those reviews, give us all the praise, or yell at us, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we accept yelling.
We can accept it. We get a lot of it. Yeah. Absolutely. Like you heard me talking about the Impossible Burger, I was afraid of the yelling.
Yeah. We try our best to be informative.
Yeah.
But we're not always right.
Yeah, well, isn't Impossible Burger owned by like Jay-Z or something? I feel like celebrity, like big heavy hitters own one of those companies. So
you're getting like you're Beyonce adjacent.
Yeah, so like
you can't mess with Beyonce.
Exactly.
You get destroyed.
My fear is if you even put the name of a company that's like owned by somebody who's super famous, I will be assassinated. So I got to be careful.
Yeah, they suck beyond that.
No, Beyond, you're great. Anyway, so do you have your phrases ready before we close out? You got them all ready? Because we may look to you for help. We are your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
I have 3 different seasons of second lines just went through my head.
I know. This one has to do with a long time ago.
Providing quality top environmental content since 1823.
That's the one. Science without the serious. No. Science without the. I'm always. Without the screaming? Stiffness. I should remember that. You know what I mean. Science without the stiffness.
Green without the groaning.
You got us better. Stiff.
Grown.
Okay. And
Sorry,
then
I have to remember mine too because I barely got it.
Green without groaning. Yours always makes me think of Matt Groening. Growning. Like, that's what I think of. Green without the
Should
groaning.
we spell it that way? The Groen?
Yeah. And mine, science with the stiffness. Green without the groaning.
Green without Matt Groening.
Yeah, and the groaning. And then what is the new one? It was, Inspiring Veronica since 2019.
Fear and love.
Oh, my God.
Inspiring fear and love. Okay, inspiring fear and love. And then Veronica says...
Stop and smell the flowers.
That's
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.